Okay, boys and girls, today we are looking at our worksheet that says October 15th at the top. It has one problem at the top and two at the bottom. So the first one says Kyle can earn $6.75 an hour doing yard work. How much can he earn in 7 hours? All right. It also says washing cars, Kyle can earn $7.25 an hour. Would he make more money washing cars for 6 hours or doing yard work for 7 hours? Explain your thinking. So make sure that you're solving this and then make sure you answer. Would he make more washing cars or doing yard work? So you need to tell that and explain how you know. At the bottom, we have some grids. They represent a whole. Use the grid to show how you can find the product of the factors. Remember, these are the numbers being multiplied, named in these expressions, which actually these are equations because they have an equal sign. So we're not going to do these. These are going to be your homework, but you do have some grid paper. So I'm going to give some different examples that are similar to what you're doing today, so that you can we can practice some. So the first one we're going to do is, let's do 5/10 times 7/10. All right. So let's remember that when we're looking at this, this is like really 5/10 is half. This is half of 7/10. Remember that you're multiplying a decimal by a decimal. You're going to get a smaller number because you're finding that 7/10 of the 5/10 or 5/10 of the 7/10. You're looking at this number and you're finding a fraction of that amount because this 7/10 as a decimal, that means 7/10 a fraction. You're finding a part of that. So let's see how we could represent. So if we want to first do our 5/10, and if you have crayons, colored pencils, you can do that. Remember, I said you could show your lines one way as you fill in, and then as you cross over, you could do the other way if you wanted to, and then that way it doesn't matter if you have crayons or markers or anything like that. So let's show our 5/10. I'm going to fill in. I went ahead and counted mine out so I wouldn't. 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to show my 5/10, which I know is half. And I say that a lot because it just helps me to get an idea of it. Half of 7/10, I can kind of get an idea of what my answer is going to be. All right, my highlighter's getting a little dull. Okay, there's my 5/10. Now I'm finding 7/10 of that. So then I'm going to go the opposite way and I'm going to do 7 of them. 1, and you might already be thinking, you know, 5 times 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And I can see where they overlap. It's making that pretty orange. All right. And if I was to count those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know that 5 times 7 is 35. 35 out of my whole, out of my hundreds. That's 35 hundredths. That's how I could represent it with a picture. You can always work it out, especially if that helps you just to check yourself. I know that's 35. And then we've got 0 and 0. We can say, I know I've got 2 in the 10th place, so I'm moving 2 digits in. It's going to be 35 hundredths, just like we saw right here. All right, let's try another one. Let's do, let's do 2/10 times 4/10. You might already know the answer, kind of have the answer in your mind. All right, I'm going to do my 2/10 first. I'm going to do it in yellow. I'm going to start with yellow. Show my 2/10. find 4/10 of that. So I'm finding a fraction of that. So it's going to be smaller. And you can see that when we do it. This is my 4/10. You can see this section is smaller than the 4/10 and the 2/10, right? 2/10 is 20. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it's 800ths. Do you see that? It's not an 8 right after the decimal. It's 800ths. It's only 8 of those 100. So be careful not to write that 8/10 because it's not 80. There's only 8 of them filled in. You see that? And like we said, this answer is smaller than that. My answer is smaller than 2/10. My answer is smaller than 4/10. It doesn't matter that I'm multiplying. I found something, I'm multiplying by something less than 1. So I'm going to get something less than that number. And since this is like 20, 8 is less than 20, 8 is less than 40. We can work it out if that helps you, but we're still going to get our same. You've got to know where it's going to make sense. We've got our 1, 2 decimals. 1, 2, be right there. 800ths. So make sure on your work for today, you show a picture to represent what the answer would be for those problems.